From the intriguing reserved list art cards to the despair-filled historic anthology, we have a whole bunch of Magic news to cover today. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today for another installment of Mega Magic News, the show where I take a bunch of little different things that are going on in the magical world, serve them up on a plate for you to either deliciously enjoy or spit out on the ground. So, what do we have today? Well, we have information about the reserved list art cards, Historic Anthology 4, we've got some information about the Strixhaven pre-release, and even a little bit of timespiral tidbit action. And as a bonus salad dressing on this magical salad, I even have some personal news to include at the end. So stick around for that if you're interested, and if you don't care, then you don't care. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is reserved list art cards. Now, this is just a speculative sort of thing, because this is based on a question that was posed to Mark Rosewater, where basically somebody went and said, hey, is it a possibility for us to get reserved list art cards? And for example, they said things like Sliver Queen, I believe, was one of the cards that are given as example. If you don't know what that means, if you're not familiar with the art cards, because they have only shown up in a few sets, set boosters are the most recent place to get them, but they did them with Modern Horizons as well. Basically, it's the exact same size as a regular Magic card, but the front of it is literally just a piece of Magic artwork, and on the back, the card is mostly blank, aside from the collector number and the name of the artist responsible for that painting. So the idea behind this is, would we be able to get art cards that featured art from cards on the reserved list? And Rosewater responded with, that's a very interesting question. A lot of the time, he'll either say something is doable or just kind of talk about why it's not doable. So just saying outright it's an interesting question leaves it open for the possibility of that being the case. The reserve list is essentially a promise that they won't reprint particular cards from Magic the Gathering, but that really would not preclude them from actually being able to do art cards. It's totally a doable thing from the perspective of not violating the reserved list. However, there is actually another hitch that may cause this to not be a doable thing. And first of all, I guess we should say, it's not guaranteed that Wizards would even do something like this. It's literally just being posed as an interesting idea. However, the biggest stumbling block, I think, to the art cards, aside from just wondering whether there's enough of a demographic who would buy them, I don't know if anybody would buy just individual packages of Magic art cards. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're like not even one step up. They're, to me, the exact same difference as token cards inserted in a booster pack, where it's like, for some people, they're going to be like, wow, I really like these. And for other people, they're just going to be garbage. Now, I fall into the category of people who, I mean, if you watch the channel, you know what the answer is going to be. I love the art cards. Are you kidding me? Having a nice, bigger, blown-up version of the artwork is beautiful. I love Magic art. So for me, it would be a home run. But I know from experience, just seeing people's reactions to Modern Horizons and set boosters, that there is also a segment of the market that doesn't care about that, right? So the question of whether it's financially viable, we'll put that aside, and we'll talk about a different, actually, I guess it's another financial aspect, but not from a sales standpoint, from a cost standpoint. What you have to understand is most of the reserved list artwork was created during a different time in Magic's history where artists were compensated differently. Now, how it currently works is Wizards of the Coast will commission an artist to paint a piece of artwork, and Wizards owns that artwork. So if the artist wants to, let's say, do like playmats or things like that using the artwork, they have to get Wizards of the Coast permission. It's kind of like the artist has limited ability to do what they want with the art. As far as I understand, if they want to like make prints of their own art, they can do that sort of thing without really having to clear it with Wizards. But to use the artwork in any other capacity, current artists have to request permission from Wizards of the Coast. But with the original artworks, they're actually, the old school Magic artworks are owned by the people who did the artwork, or at the very least, they have a royalty structure. And what this means is that for like every time this artwork is printed, the artist is owed for every single printing as opposed to a one-shot payment. So most likely what would have to happen for these art cards to even be a reality is Wizards of the Coast would have to negotiate with the artists who own the artwork and basically say, we'd like to give you a lump sum payment. We don't want to do this royalty sort of thing, right? So that is between that and the fact that I don't know what the market is for it, it's an interesting what if that may come to pass. So that is the most like fanciful part of the news. The rest of the stuff we're going to talk about is a little more concrete. Let's talk about the time spiral tidbits next. So time spiral tidbits, there's not that much here, just a few things that I thought were interesting. One of them is that they've redone Safi Eric's daughter, okay? And basically now she's facing forwards in the artwork while Hans is running off into the distance. I did a video on Hans. I don't know if you guys remember it, but I did a video on Hans, and basically he's just taking off while Safi is like in the story. Safi gets her life ended immediately. Basically, the Lorgoyf just crunches down on her and she's done for. But having a Safi with Hans running off in the background, I thought that was a fun little thing that was worth throwing in. Another sort of like artwork note is when it comes to the tokens, I gotta say the bat token that they made, I don't know if it's just me, but when I looked at the bat token, yes, the color of a token is determined by the name box. So this bat token is black. But when I looked at it, I stared at it for a while and I'm like, this feels like a red token. This feels like a red token so much, even though it has an activated ability for a black and a colorless. It totally does look to me like a red token. So I just wanted to bring that up to see genuinely how many of you guys, when you look at it, feel like it's a red token? Or did you just look at it and go, oh no, right away I knew, like it's a bat, whatever. Like for me, visually, the impact of the card when it hits your eyes is that's a red token. So it was a little bit of a, wait, what's going on? And speaking of tokens, there is a issue with the Kobold token that is in Time Spiral Remastered, and that is the token's just called Kobold, when it's supposed to actually be Kobold of Care Keep, because that's specifically what the card that generates it calls the tokens. So this is literally a misprint, and all of the Kobold tokens from Time Spiral Remastered are supposed to be Kobold of Care Keep. So just bear that in mind. Now, the next thing we have to note is Strixhaven pre-release kits. So Strixhaven pre-release kits, there's going to be 5 different ones. There's going to be one for each college, okay? So each of the 5 colleges is going to get their own particular kit. Each kit will include a promo card, but on top of that promo card, there will be one rare or mythic card in each pre-release kit as well that is attuned specifically to that college. So it'll be from that college. Other than that, the only other point that we have on our news list here is Historic Anthology 4. So, Historic Anthologies are arena-only sets. Historic Anthology 4 is the worst one that we've seen. Basically, the idea behind Historic Anthologies is they're supposed to pull some cards from Magic's history and kind of fit them in. Not pick stuff that's too powerful for like Arena and Historic, but at the same time, not put a bunch of garbage in. And that's what Historic Anthology 4 really feels like. It is almost all trash. There is a sword. So you do have the Sword of Feast or Famine, which is a decent card for sure. But it seems like the rest of the anthology is really, really underwhelming. And I'm not going to miss this background noise. That will. Anyways, let's not get caught up in that. The gurgle, just ignore it. Whatever. It is what it is. So, Historic Anthology has a couple of cards that actually feel like draft garbage in them, where it's like, what are you even doing? Why are these in here? Like, it's very, very poor in terms of like an amalgamation of cards to add in. I gotta say, it's the most underwhelming one that I've seen at all. Now, I did say I got a bit of personal news to add on to the end, and I do. My friends, the move is finished. Either this video or the next video is going to be the last video recorded in this particular location. You guys can pull aside the curtain and you can see that I'm actually in a basement right now. And yeah, This is either the last or the second last video, depending on how things go or whatever. This weekend, we're going to get all of our stuff that's in this location, because staying at a friend's place, we're going to get all this stuff moved into our apartment, the internet set up and everything. So I'll be able to stream, record my videos, and do everything from a proper location. We're going to have our own recording studio, which is a grandiose term to call one bedroom in an apartment. But either way, I'm going to have a recording studio, and you guys can get ready for the next level of magical adventures. So if you're somebody who enjoyed all the annoying background noises that are here, well, I mean, kiss them goodbye, say goodbye in the comments, goodbye gurgle noises, we'll miss you, because we're done. All right, so that wraps up all the news I wanted to cover today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. My most ticklish and lovable patrons are scrolling by on the screen right now, so big thanks to them. They're the best people in the world. Other than that, I will see you, my friends, very soon.